Next
Robots.
year you're going to see a lot of robots.
Robots.
More accurately, the chip that runs the brains of the robots is about to change to a thing called neuromorphics. Neuromorphics uses human or biological cells to store and move around data and do processing. It's a completely different architecture. And from what I'm hearing is these chips are very excellent at AI workloads. They're a factor faster, right? Many times faster, and they run cold, so you can put them on the rims of glasses because they don't heat up when they start getting doing a lot of math.
Welcome, Robert, to my show. I'm happy to have you here today. I'm very excited because you have, I think, 50 times more experience with AI and tech than me. So I had a bit of my career in Berlin. I worked a bit with Google, but you did 20,000 things. And on Twitter, or X as we call it nowadays, you are everywhere, literally everywhere. And I've been dying to ask you some questions. But folks, I mean, if you don't know him, he's Robert Scoble. He has like 30 years of experience. And if you ask him anything about tech, he's going to know the answer,
Well,
right?
I can't code and I can't do the math that goes, underneath the
We don't need
large language models that are coming out right every day. So
we don't need that. We're going to have AI for that like next year. So it's going to be fine. One of those viral, titles like RIP coders, like, I don't know, like all of the stuff, software developers. That's going to be like a headline I'm going to see probably in 1 or 2 months. So we're fine. I think we're fine in that regard. I also was like a educator basically with Google. So I was like teaching people. I'm also not a coder. So I got some pretty good results with AI. So I can't complain either. Things are looking good for us.
yes.
All right.
I've been around.
So
I mean, Siri was launched on my show, I don't know, 13 years ago, and that was the first AI app. And so I've been watching AI ever since the beginning, right? And it's really incredible. Right?
I
And
mean, just the titles I'm seeing, for example, like on my feed, right? So people ask me, like, how do you stay ahead of tech? And I just tell them, it's like, I have a feed every day, right? That gives me like the most wackiest like headlines they can find on the internet. And the things I'm seeing nowadays is like mind blowing. Like you wake up in the morning and you see AI can teach you how to become a chef in 2 hours. AI can
no, no,
build a
no.
website for you in 10 minutes. And I was like, what?
I posted yesterday. I took a picture of my spice cabinet, right, and said,
Yeah,
could you make an inventory?" And it did off of the picture,
it's
right?
wild. It's
You know,
wild. I
so
saw like even somebody else. It was another one like Rowan Chang. I think he posted this. Like he took a photo of his gym, of his home gym, and the thing literally managed to give him like like a fitness schedule, like what to do with all those things. And I was like, I paid fitness, trainers for like I paid fitness guys for like at least $2,000 to give me those kind of plans. And this thing can literally do it for you like in 7 seconds. So it's like
yeah.
it's incredible. It's incredible. I've been working with like I got access to GPT Vision, I think like 4 days ago. I was one of the last ones to get access to that. And I've been doing
Me
it
and you
every
both.
day. I mean, they really did me dirty. I was seeing my friend, post like, oh, it can do this. Oh, that's amazing. You should try this out. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Any day now. Any day. It's
It's
fine.
recognized pretty much everything I've aimed it at, including buildings, cars, fruits in a store. I mean, all sorts of stuff, right? It's
It's
really incredible.
amazing. Like again, like and what I love
It's just
about
the
this, like
beginning, right? I mean, what's this going
exactly.
to be like in 5 years?
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like I've been telling people when they ask me, like, how can I leverage this right to build a business, to improve my SaaS, and because I do a bit of entrepreneurship, guidance and stuff like that. And like I tell people, like, the sky's the limit. Just use your imagination. Just show it your business plan. Show it your next SaaS idea. Just let it do the magic. I mean, again, just let it work for you. Ask it good questions. And the results I'm seeing every day is like it's unbelievable. I've been
Yeah.
seeing because in the past, I used to see, for example, a few months ago, you would see prompts, right? People give it prompts, to chat GPT, you'd get something. Nowadays, I see videos, just people get the picture, and you're seeing it, all the stuff that's doing, right? Explaining to you step by step, asking it to build a book and stuff like that. And it's just incredible. I'm just waiting for like 2024 because it's just another whole different level.
So
All right.
here, let's use it. I'm on a podcast and we're talking about AI. What are all points of view on AI? What should we talk about on this show? right?
I did already this exercise with you. Before coming here, I was walking in the rain with my headphones and I tried this and I got some pretty nice questions actually, like a couple of games to try out. One of them is going to be Tech Rapid Fire. You're going to enjoy this. We're going to do it a
Yeah.
bit later.
If you've already done this exercise with me, I'll try to offer a fresh perspective. When discussing AI, there are numerous angles to consider. One,
Yeah.
historical context.
Anyways, it'll talk to
Yeah.
us back and forth,
Yeah.
right?
I did this.
This is ChatGPT's new feature, right? True voice
Voice.
both ways,
Voice.
right?
I did this in the rain. This was 12 minutes ago, and it's amazing. I'm gonna do this again, I think, every day from now on because like it was so cool. Like because in the past, right, I used to talk on the computer. I mean, you would like, you boot it up on your laptop, whatever, and you type. Now, then the next step will like just give it images and you can see it and it talk to you. And now I tried again this evening before coming on this podcast. Like it's raining, I cannot type, I don't have an umbrella, and it's like let me just try out this voice chat function. And I was asking like, what cool games can I do with Robert Scoble on my podcast in 11 minutes? And it's like, oh, thank you for the nice question. So why don't you try this out? So one of them is Tech Rapid Fire. All right, so I'm gonna tell you three things and you have to decide basically immediately and why. And it's not going to be easy, okay? Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Apple or Android?
Apple. And why?
Yeah.
Better technology.
All right. All right.
Which isn't
VR.
true, right? But it is true. There's more GPU on an iPhone than there is on an Android phone. Therefore, you can run things on an iPhone that you can't run on the Android phone.
Plus, I saw the Apple Vision. Oh my God, that was so good. Like, I'm
That
not an Apple fan. I got to be honest with you. I'm not an Apple fan. But when I saw the Apple Vision, the concept where you just put those things on, right? And you see TV on your kitchen, you go to the bathroom, you look at your walls, and you see like Avatar 2 or something. I mean, like, that's just
and
wild.
truth be told, I won't switch the ecosystem right now. It costs too much. I'm talking to you on a Mac, right? In that Mac is an M1 processor. Did you know that 21% of that processor is for AI and it's not being used yet? It's been sitting on my desk for 2 years. That piece of the chip has been sitting cold most of the time, right?
Cool.
Once in a while, a thing runs, like I'm running Rewind that's listening to us and writing notes
Yeah.
about this meeting and
Yeah.
gonna, take notes and help me remember this in the future,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. All right, because you're trying that out, right? I think I saw a post the other day where you're trying this out. You're talking with the founder. That looks super cool. I'm
Yeah.
also curious to try that out. Just to see. That would be an interesting application to see. To like, I would record myself now. So just for you to know, for the audience there to know, I'm like 29, but for the audience, when I'm gonna be like 59, so I can, like try to talk with myself when I was 29 and see my views, how I would talk with myself. That would be such an interesting experiment to do, I guess. Like to literally to talk with your younger self,
Yeah.
right? Right. Now, let's proceed with the game. I have two more questions. So,
All right.
the first one is Apple or Android. Second one is VR or AR.
They're the same.
Okay. All right.
Particularly if you're in a Quest 3, right, from Meta Corporation or
Yeah.
the Apple Vision Pro, those are technically VR devices because you're not seeing the real world at all. You're seeing what you think is the real world that the computer picked up with the cameras, made a 3D model of the room around you or the scene around you, and is presenting that. So you see your couch and you see your living room, around you, but it's all VR. So,
Yeah.
but it can do things that look like augmented reality, right? So,
Makes sense.
so it's both.
It makes sense. And if I think about it, I think in the future we are gonna go mainly to VR at the end of the day, right? Because I mean, if you're
Well,
in your
eventually we have a pair of glasses that we can see the real world. If we can see the real world, it's not VR anymore, right?
True, but the thing is,
it's a
will you
true mixed
want to?
reality.
Yeah. But the question is going to be, will you want to stay in the true reality? Let's put it this way, right? Because I think they're going to make
Well, if
huge
you're on
progress in the next year.
let's say you go to Yosemite National Park, right? Really beautiful place, right? Analog in all of its glory. And you want to see analog. You want to see the real world
Mm,
because it's beautiful.
you're
But then
right.
don't you want to know the names of the mountains all around you, right? Don't you want to
Ah, I
see all the
see.
skies above you, or the stars, right? Instead of just the few thousand, the trillions, right? Don't you want to
Yeah.
be able to understand what you're seeing in terms of the stars, like the Big Dippers over your
All
head,
right. I
right?
see. I like your
Right?
imagination with this. You already
Yeah.
picture this, like how exactly you're gonna use it. I love this.
Yeah,
Because in
and
my
then
mind, I was
don't you
like,
wanna
it's
look
gonna
at the
put me.
trees and know the names of the trees that are around you or the
Yeah.
plants, right? The scientific names particularly, so you learn something, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's
You
cool. Yeah,
need to
because I
have
was
a
thinking in
pure
my
glass.
mind, I was like, what's gonna happen is gonna make like in the next 5 to 10 years, we're gonna have these amazing virtual realities, right? And it's like, do I still want to be in the normal reality? Like I just go in this virtual reality and like I'm 50 feet tall, it's like I can go to Mars, I can, like, I don't know, travel into space and stuff like that. It's like, what am I still doing on normal Earth? I just like fantasy stuff.
So, yeah, anyway, so you even in a place where you wanna see the real world and experience the real world, you'll still wanna put on the glasses someday to see more, to understand
Yeah.
more, to augment your world, to make it better, right?
Right.
Even if you just want to figure out where to eat lunch, right? It's okay. We see the Yosemite National Park. There's Yosemite Falls. There's Half Dome over here. It's beautiful, right? Put on the glasses. Okay, where are we going for lunch? You
Yeah,
know?
it's like it's like in video games, it's showing you those arrows, like the next objective is like restaurant in 500 meters and just walk towards it. That would be
Or
just
pull out your
hilarious.
phone, right?
Yeah, 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 sure. And now the last question of like the tech rapid fire: self-driving cars or flying cars?
Self-driving cars. I don't believe in flying cars. I don't believe they're
Hmm.
gonna be to the place where we can ever normal everyday citizens can use them. Because number one, if that was possible, they would be noisy because they have to move air. Do you really want a bunch of flying shit, from your neighbors? I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rich people already have this, right? I, I, I was partying one time in Seattle out on the lake, right? And this guy landed a float plane right in front of me and turned around and pulled right up on his front lawn, got out and went in his house, right? So
Wow.
he already has a
Damn.
flying car, right?
The
But
flex,
but
the
that's
huge flex.
noisy and expensive. It's for rich people. It's not for normal.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. I think because I heard the podcast, so I listened to it was like the Joe Rogan show with like Elon Musk, and I think Joe Rogan was asking this question. Like, actually, I loved it because like Elon would completely like nerd on him. It was like one of those great moments. Like, actually, according to science, that would not be really feasible because it's noisy and stuff. And for us normal humans, you never consider it, like, because you have this fantasy, like, yeah, flying, super cool. And it's like
Yeah.
that's noisy, that's expensive, that's impractical, and
Uh,
like nobody
I
thinks about this. And it's like,
I
huh?
asked Sebastian Thrun, who built the first Google car, ran the Google team that built the Waymo company, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Waymo is self-driving car company in San Francisco and Phoenix and Pittsburgh and other places. Um, he says you're going to want a flying car so that you can live like 2 hours from a job, right? Where the house is cheap,
Mm,
like Folsom or Manteca in California,
yeah,
right? Instead of living in
yeah,
San Francisco where the jobs are really good and the pay is really good, live in, Manteca and take your autonomous car to a parking lot and then take a flying car from that to an airport. And he
yeah,
said, then you take a 2-hour drive and make it 20 minutes and a lot cheaper. You end up landing on the top of a building in San Francisco. You walk down, go to your job, or
ah,
walk downstairs and take another self-driving car to your job, right? And now you can live
yeah.
more cheaper and have a better lifestyle for your family.
That makes sense. That is something that's a bit more realistic. Yeah, I would say like that makes more sense to apply this way. But again, the
And
implication
then
would be
and then
you need to
they'll
be
also
bigger or
be able,
something. Yeah.
if you know where you're flying from and flying to every day, you can make a deal with the FAA to get approval to do that, right? If
Yeah.
it's a generalized fly from anywhere to anywhere, no, the FAA ain't gonna approve that. It's
Yeah.
decades away. Even if
Yeah.
that was possible with technology, and it's getting close, but the FAA doesn't move that fast, and they're not going to regulate
Mm,
that. They don't want a lot of people flying objects up in the sky where it can cause a jetliner to go down, right?
yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Thank you for these like insights because as I said, I like it that you like go in depth with this, because like the normal folks would be like, oh, flying, cool, sure. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, there's a lot of stuff to think about that. Now, one of the questions I've been also dying to ask you, because again, you have like such a broader perspective, right? So in my case, for example, sometimes I brag about the fact that I was talking about chatbots in 2017. And back in the days, it wasn't cool. This was like my master's thesis. I was talking about like the social implications of chatbots, in Italy and stuff like that. It wasn't cool. I can tell you back then, you wouldn't get a date with a girl talking about chatbots. It just wasn't happening.
No,
Maybe not even today, but still, it's a bit of a cooler topic.
a little bit,
But yeah, but this was like, I'm saying this was like 5, 6 years ago, but this is nothing compared to you who's been doing this for like 20, 30 years. So the question now I'm having, right? So like how has your perspective on AI changed from when you first started
Oh,
exploring it, and how is it like now? How were you thinking about AI when you started this journey, and how do you think about it nowadays?
the three guys who started Siri actually had a better answer than I would.
Okay.
Um, Adam Chire at one time ran the biggest AI development group in the world, right? He's one of the three co-founders of Siri. And he's told me even he was shocked by how good ChatGPT was when ChatGPT 4.0 came along, because it
Yeah.
could answer many, many things that Siri could not answer. And he knew it was theoretically possible, and I knew it was theoretically possible, but when you actually see it ship and and it's on your phone, you're talking to it, it is still pretty mind blowing.
It's incredible. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had the same epiphany pretty much when I tried ChatGPT like in November of last year, because again I had some experience with chatbots. I knew how they work. They were a neat little thing, like I even checked of course, all the history with Eliza and like 50 years ago and stuff like that. But still, it was like miles ahead away from being useful somehow. And then ChatGPT launched, and I tried it, and comparing it to what I knew in 2018, I was like, this is the future. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Like it can answer to me like a decently intelligent human being, and that's a lot. That's a lot. And then they launched 4.0, which you can prompt it even better. And then they added all this, like like the advanced data analysis, like a code interpreter, now with DALL-E in it, where you can, like, for example, DALL-E, it's amazing compared to Midjourney, because it talks to you naturally. So I tell it, right, so give me a cute picture of a bumblebee as a rabbit dressed as a bumblebee, and it understands me as a human and gives me that. None of this like advanced prompting with Midjourney, where you kind of give it the parameters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Just like it's incredible, like, compared to last year. I mean, if you would have told me this was possible last
Compared to
year, I
last month,
wouldn't.
what are you talking about last year, man?
Right?
This is a month by month thing. It's every
Yeah,
month we
yeah,
get a
yeah.
major new
Every
feature.
month, and it's like, oh my god, that's what I'm telling people when they told me, like, no, but the thing is, like, we're gonna see what's gonna happen in 5 years. Man, look what's gonna happen, like in one summer, like in one, like autumn and stuff like that. Like in the next 3 months, what you're seeing is you cannot believe it. If I would told you're right, if I would have told you last month that ChatGPT can like read images and give you good answers, you'd be like, nah, that's gonna happen in 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
It's
What's
crazy.
really blowing me away is the numbers of companies that are building in AI, right? It's not just ChatGPT. I've found on X.com 4,000 companies, right? That's incredible to me, because I had a famous blog for a long time where I studied
Mhm.
startups and innovation. There was nothing like this, back in 2000s, right? This is we're in an exponential world, and it's a worldwide thing too, right? You're seeing people from Australia, from all over the world building these things, right?
Yeah. I'm seeing also because I'm quite active in the entrepreneurship community on Twitter with a lot of people I know that are smarter than me, that give me insights every day. And again, because the thing is, what I'm noticing now, so like the barrier to build companies, services has gone down so low, because right before you needed, like, for example, like a software developer, you needed, a full team to build this. It would take months. Nowadays, you have an idea, you can build a mock-up, You can launch it. You can get data, like data insights from audience. You can like get a couple of developers, not a team of 10, just 2, and you build it in like in 2 to 3 months. You launch it, evaluation, whatever is going to happen, you jump to $10 million, even more, just like that. And it's just amazing, the possibilities, because again, everybody's thinking and they can do it. Because in the past, the difference was you could have these ideas, but how would you apply them? You couldn't.
No, you had to
Nowadays,
be
you're
a
like,
C++ programmer at some point if you wanted to build
yeah,
something really interesting,
yeah,
right? Now you
exactly.
use English. Hey, ChatGPT, build me a video game, and it does. Right? It's
Yeah,
like,
I saw it. I
yeah,
saw there was this post from Alvaro. So I think it's Alvaro Cintas. He's like a professor, and he made like a little game, with ChatGPT, and it looked good. It was like actually quite nice, 2D, something like that simple. Got like 4 million views. It went viral on X. But I was like, from nothing, right? From nothing. It took him time of execution. I think it was like, I don't know, like 1 day or something. Like this was unprecedented before, to just think of doing something like that. And again, we're asking ourselves every day, what's going to be next year? What's going to happen next year? Right? You can just think, I'm on my couch. I think, hey, build a SaaS for me. It does it. You see how many people like it. You launch it. Again, 1 week, you got a business. It's incredible.
yeah, totally agree. And there's a lot going on in development. There's 400 companies that are building AI development tools, and most of them are built around a large language model of some kind, right? Which is this
Mm-hmm.
new technology that's running these Chat GPT, right? By the way, the large language model, if somebody just uses Chat GPT, they probably don't understand what's going on, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They really don't understand the large language model. You really need to understand the large language model because that's the engine of the car, right? And that's the thing that's running this thing. And if you're using Chat GPT, it's running up in the cloud somewhere, right? The large language model, you're talking
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, if you get an open source LLM, a large language model, you can run it on your phone. This is mind blowing to me because they compressed all of human knowledge into that little file that's running on your phone. So now, if you're in Yellowstone National Park where there's no connectivity, right? Your phone doesn't
Yeah,
work. You didn't bring your Starlink antenna, right? So you're
yeah.
out you're on a backpacking trip out in the middle of nowhere, and your friend breaks his arm. Well, now you can pull out your phone and start talking to your phone about what to do, and your phone can answer without being connected to the internet. That's incredible.
Wow. I
And that
didn't I didn't even think about that. Is that
yeah,
really? Does it really work without the internet?
yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
I
So the
needed that.
large
I needed like 2 weeks ago. I went hiking in the mountains. We didn't have no internet. We couldn't find this damn lake where to go. We had
yeah,
the solution was my friend pulled out a drone. So with the drone, he went up the mountain and he was like looking around with the drone until he found the lake. And we were seeing in what direction is the drone pointing, and we followed the drone. That was hilarious. And
yeah.
for us, that was a high tech solution. It was
Uh,
hilarious.
So just an hour ago, I shared a post that somebody put a large language model into the drone. So now they ask the drone, "What do you see?" And the drone tells you what it sees. I see a forest
Wow.
with a lake. Right?
Really? Wait,
Yes,
really?
yes,
Wow,
yes.
I need to see that post. I was preparing for this
It's
interview,
up
but I
on
need to see that one.
X.com and where I do everything.
Yeah,
Of course, I'm
I'm
responsible people in the AI space, so I see things early, you know?
this is one of the questions I'm super curious because regarding this, so I noticed since I started my journey, you are everywhere on X. Now, how is that possible? Like,
I
do
have
you have a
TweetDeck.
thing?
I have
Do,
everybody put into a list. So I have a list of all the
all right.
investors in the world. I have a list of 2 lists of founders. I have a list of tech journalists. I have a list of all the AI companies split up into separate lists, right? So I have lists of like writing tools, stuff like that, all on my list. So if you go to my profile and click view lists, you'll see all my lists. If you use a service system called TweetDeck, which is owned by
Yeah, yeah.
X.com, you can put each list as a column. So I have 70 columns on a browser window, so I can watch the entire world go by. Because you don't need to refresh the page to see new things. New things come in at the top when they get posted. So if you post a new post, I see it, right?
Okay, because I want to do a test right now because you answer immediately to everybody everywhere. I don't know how you do it if you have like a team of 10 people running this. So I'm doing right now a test. So, uh, All right. I'm gonna post something right now and
Yeah.
see if I'm gonna get an answer from. I mean, now I kind of ruined the game because like you know now that I like
Yeah,
posted
because
this, so
now I
you're
pulled up.
probably
I was
yeah.
I was
Now you're like
being
ready
tough,
to
but I would
hop
be
on
paying
it. You know,
attention
it's
to
like
you and not paying attention to X, because it's very
yeah,
distracting.
yeah. Okay, so but I might test this. I'm not gonna spoil it for now. You know, just gonna at the random moment I might post something and
All
let's
right.
see if I'm gonna get an answer like in the next 3 seconds or something. You
No,
know, it's
because I'm
like
talking to you.
right? That's the test. Now that's the test. That's what I want to see. You know, is like, am I gonna get immediately answer like, "Hey, Alex, it's been nice to be on the interview,
First
but
thing,
I see your hands are here, right? You're talking with me, your hands are here, and I get the answer. Like, how is that possible? How is that a thing?
I, I I'm not an AI. I actually do answer everything.
Yeah,
So,
that's the test. So that's the test. That's why I'm gonna do the test. You know, when you least expect it. So let's see what's
all right.
gonna happen. I'm curious to
Well,
see this.
realistically, at the end of the show, I would see it show up in my notifications, right? So,
Well, yeah, exactly. And you wouldn't answer now, you would answer like later. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. So depending on the interval of time that's going to pass, then I can actually do the testing. I can tell the whole audience, like, actually, I talked with the real Robert Scoble, or maybe it was the clone, actually, the real Robert Scoble was answering tweets while he sent, his robot to talk with me on the podcast.
it's not that good yet. Soon. I have 3 AIs already. People ingested all my tweets, because I've been on Twitter for 18 years. And so
Wow.
they ingested all my data and did some fine tuning of some models. And now it answers questions like I would, it's pretty good. So
Yeah. I also did like one of those little bots for you like the other day, like I made like the
I
Terminator
just like,
Scoble.
I just saw your post. I just liked it. So
Was it you? Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe this. Wait, let me see.
yeah.
How do you do this so fast?
Because
How
I
is
have
that
a project
possible?
running. I see your post come up, 5
Oh my
seconds.
God, but like, Jesus, because I mean, you have like 400,000 followers, Robert. How do you
Yeah,
keep
but
up
you
with
keep in
this?
mind, it also shows me a notification. So when you
But
tag me, it shows me in a separate feed going, "Oh, somebody's talking about you." So
Jesus, that's superhuman. Like, I need to learn how to do this because I do AI. I'm baffled. Okay, I'm mind blown.
yeah.
Right. Now, actually, another question. So, because you mentioned, right, so learning about LLMs and it's something valuable. I agree with you on this. Education is one of my values. So, for the people out there listening and hearing us, basically for people interested maybe in diving deeper into the world of AI, maybe for career, personal interest, what resources or paths would you recommend that they explore?
Ooh, a career in AI. Are you a programmer? Are you technically oriented? Do you understand math? Well, then you can build these things, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a computer
Or just
science?
keep it simple. Let's keep it simple, for example. Right? So somebody
But
maybe
if
like
you're
a
a
young
business
person in high
person,
school, listening to this, or like just a normal 9 to 5 worker who's interested in the world of AI, but they don't have experience. What would be your advice? Should they start with GPT-4? Should they
I
go
would.
into some Google courses? What would you
No,
do?
I would first of all start using it and understand the power. Force yourself to use it for everything. Yeah, I use it when I go to a restaurant. I talk to it, right? I want to force myself to use it so I understand what it does well and what it doesn't do well. And if you force yourself to keep using it over time, you'll see how it's improving over time because it's not staying the same. It's getting better over time. It adding new features, getting rid of some of the errors it generates, getting
Yeah.
more data, being better tuned. Right, the whole thing is getting, and so you over time, if you force yourself to use it, you'll be ahead because you'll understand what it does. Just stop there. Then yeah, now we can take you in and show you 4,000 companies and start going, okay, what else is there for you to try? Now that you understand what
Yeah.
AI does, you understand how it works, how it's useful. Well, there's other things that can do specific things. Like, for instance, I do my video editing with one of these tools called
Yeah.
Descript, and it builds a
Super good tool.
transcript for the AI builds a transcript. It watches a video like the one we're doing here and it writes a transcript. And then I can edit the video by cutting and pasting the transcript. It's crazy.
Ah.
right? So
That's
there's a whole
it
bunch
saves you
of tools.
so much time. It saved you so much time. Like I know I tried this tool for a bit. That's super good.
And if you're a doctor or a nurse, there's other things for you, right? If you're
Yeah.
if you're building video games, there's other things for you, right? There's a whole, I mean, there's 4,000 companies. They're doing a lot of really interesting things. One of the things is I would recommend everybody go through that list one by one, right?
So we can find
Understand
that
what
list
these
basically by going to your Twitter or X profile. Scob, how do you pronounce that?
Scobleizer.
Scoblazer?
Scobleizer. My last name
Scobleizer.
is Scoble,
Scobleizer.
so it's just Scobleizer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scobleizer. Okay. Because I come from Italy, so like sometimes I struggle when I see like these, English
Yeah.
names and I never heard the pronunciation. But even with that, ChatGPT can help me because I ask it, like, hey, how would you pronounce this in English? And it really helps me out, which is amazing. It can be like my English tutor, or
Yeah.
sometimes I learn with like German, so it's super practical.
There's a lot of
Um,
translation things coming because of AI, right? ChatGPT can translate something
yeah,
small, just talk to it and say, "Hey, can you tell me how to ask where is the bathroom in German?" And it'll come back and say,
I
how
did
to,
this with Bulgarian. I did this with Bulgarian at the post office the other day because I live in like in a digital nomad village here in the mountains at the moment. And I went to the post and I tried to speak with them a bit of English, and they were like, "No, I'm not having none of this." They were like looking at me
Can
badly.
you help me translate where is the bathroom to German?
Let's see, let's see.
Of course. Where is the bathroom? In German is Wo ist die Toilette?
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's correct. I lived for 3 years in Germany. I worked in Berlin, and that is correct.
Yeah.
Even the
Right.
pronunciation, that's why it's so good because
Right.
the Google Translate would not do the same. Like I tried it, for example, and the voice feature, it doesn't do such a good job. But like ChatGPT can pronounce it so good. I'm surprised.
Yeah. The newer AIs are much better, and Google is still playing with older AI, right? So
Yeah, they kind of lost the battle for now. I don't think they lost the war, but in my opinion, they kind of lost the battle with AI. But
yeah.
it's a bit of a bigger
Last
story
night, the
there.
Chinese were showing us you could talk to the AI and it'll buy things for you. It'll negotiate on price for you. And then it'll come back and say, "Here's the 4 prices I found for you." Which
I would need that. I'm a horrible negotiator. I went to Turkey. I think they ripped me off at least like 3 times because whatever they asked me is like, yeah, take my money. And then a friend of mine from Turkey told me like, you have to negotiate. It's actually part of the culture, that you go back and forth. It's part of the process. And I was like, what process? What do you mean? They just keep asking me for the price and I pay. That's how it works in Germany. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like a bit of a culture shock.
Same thing here. Everybody buys a lot of things on Amazon. You don't negotiate with Amazon. You just buy
That would
it.
be hilarious.
You decide whether you like the price or not. And that's it.
Yeah. Right. Curious question I have also because I've been reading. So these days, I love Isaac Asimov. I don't know if you're familiar with the name. If you like his books, I got his audiobooks. I read a lot of his books. They're pretty cool just because he has so much like food for thought. But this is one of the things that inspires me. So if we're going to you, right, to your career and all this stuff, for example, like is there a book, a movie, or a TV show that influenced you with AI or virtual reality or these kind
I,
of things that you love?
I had a far more direct route than having to read about this stuff from some
Okay.
book. When I was 13 years old, I was Apple's first child laborer, and my mom had me build Apple II motherboards in our kitchen, and she taught me how to solder on those motherboards, and I fell in love with the
What?
motherboards. Yeah, I lived in Cupertino, California in the
Ah,
1980s, and my dad was an
wow.
engineer, and my mom got this job from a woman here in the valley. She still has a business today, Hildy Lid,
Yeah.
and she uh, does contract manufacturing of electronics with housewives. And my mom was one of the housewives. And so I learned how to solder on an Apple II motherboard back in 1978, right?
78.
Yeah.
Wow, my God. Like I cannot even imagine that kind of horizon to do this kind of things. So wow, that's mind
And
blowing.
then I was going to community college and I see a car out in the parking lot because I'm observant and you'll figure that out. And the car said Woz, and I knew who Woz was because I built his motherboards. right? If I didn't have if I didn't build the motherboards, I probably wouldn't have known who Woz was. I wouldn't have
Wow,
cared. Most kids don't care, right? In fact, we
that is
sat
incredible.
in the cafeteria every morning for a semester. How many kids came up to him and go, "Oh, you're Apple's co-founder." You know, he's sitting right in the middle of the cafeteria. 3. Very,
Damn.
very few kids cared.
Yeah, because back in the
And
days you didn't have social media though, so like you wouldn't even know actually. You know, like you're next to a visionary, to a world changing. You're like, I have no idea who this man is. No idea.
yeah, now you do.
Crazy.
Right? He's famous now, but back in the 80s, people were like, whatever.
Okay, right. I see we're going a bit. I'm taking too much of your time. I agree with this on like half an hour. I have just one last question. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah.
Are there any breakthroughs on the horizon that you're particularly excited about when it comes to tech or AI or some project that you're following in the last months and something that you're like really excited about that you want to
Robots.
share with us?
Robots. Yeah, next
Robots.
year you're going to see a lot of robots.
Robots.
More accurately, the chip that runs the brains of the robots is about to change to a thing called neuromorphics. Neuromorphics uses human or biological cells to store and move around data and do processing. It's a completely different architecture. And from what I'm hearing is these chips are very excellent at AI workloads. They're a factor faster, right? Many times faster. And they run cold. So you can put them on the rims of glasses because they don't heat up when they start getting doing a lot of math,
Is
right?
that I never heard about it. Is that
Yeah,
a real thing that you're
yeah. This is all true. And there's several companies who are trying to build these things, right? So sometime in the next 18 months, I think you're going to start seeing these come to the market, and that's going to make our architecture much faster. So yeah,
Wow.
so that's what I'm watching. There's a
This just blew my mind right now. Like I'm so happy to have met you here on the
yeah,
podcast today because I had my homework for tonight. Basically, I need to research all of these things and
yeah,
what? Like
yeah. Is that
like
crazy?
you mentioned like different keywords here, you know, that struck me harder and harder. Like, you know, that there's like organic cells and there's like a factor faster, it runs cold in the next 18 months. And I was like, just
Uses
my
less
God, wow.
battery, so you can power it with a very small battery, right? And for a longer time than a traditional chip. So
That
yeah,
is incredible.
there's some breakthroughs still to come to consumers, right? Maybe they're in a lab right now, but they're not yet built where they can be made in scale, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thank you so much for bringing us this excitement. I'm happy that also our audience probably are going to deep dive into this and do more research. I'm going to link some articles there. Robert, it's been a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you
you.
so much for your patience, time, and sharing all this wonderful expertise that you have. And yeah, we see each other on X. Whenever people tag you, you just appear there immediately. So now they know, I guess. You're human, I think. I'm still suspicious, but I think you're a human.
Someday I will be an AI, so you should be questioned. You know, someday I'm gonna let an AI go on my account, and I'll go to the
We'll
beach.
never know. We'll never know, right? We're gonna say, "Hey, he's at the beach with no phone. How's that a thing?" He answered my tweet 30 seconds ago. All right. Have a great day, Robert. Thank you so much for joining me.